Hey everybody, Jeremy here with the Practical IT channel. In this video, we're kicking off a new series on basic Linux commands. And to start things off, we're going to look at a few commands that are somewhat related. The purpose of each of them is to list something. So the first example we're going to look at is ls. This will list out your files and directories. This is basically equivalent to the dir command on Windows. There are also some other switches you can use, such as ls-l, which is the long listing and gives you extra information about your files and directories, such as permissions, date created, etc. If we clear our screen, which you can do with Control-D, and we'll talk about that in another video, ls has some other little tricks up its sleeve. If you do ls-lah, you are not only going to list all your files in the long listing format, but you're also going to list hidden files, which is anything that starts with a period. By default, these items are hidden. Alright, so we've got one command down and 3 other related ones to go. So let's take a look at the next command. lsusb. lsusb stands for list USB, so your USB devices. In this case, it's showing us that it's got a Linux Foundation 3.0 root hub, and it gives you the bus and ID number and device ID, a Chickeny Electronics Company keyboard, and a Linux Foundation 2.0 root hub. The lsusb command can be very useful when you are installing new hardware, USB hardware, and you're not sure if it's showing up in the system properly, or you're not sure what the system has named it. So this is a great command to know about. Moving on. lspci. As you could probably guess, this is going to list your PCI devices. And again, this shows you all kinds of information. You've got a PCI bridge, you've got a PCI controller, you've got a VGA compatible controller, and all this other information that is in some way or another connected to the PCI bus in your computer. Again, if you're installing hardware inside the computer, this can be a very useful command for gathering information and, of course, for troubleshooting purposes. Finally, we've got LSOF. Well, right off the bat, you might be thinking, okay, I understand LSUSB, LSPCI, but what the heck is LSOF? LSOF is list open files, and that is going to give quite the list of files there. If we scroll back up, we should be able to see the column headings for this. We'll get to this extra piece in another video, but I'm going to do this just so I can get the column headings. So as you can see, we've got the command, the process ID, task ID, task command, user that owns it, the type, the device, the size, and the node name. And again, this is great information to help in troubleshooting problems that may occur. All right. Finally, the last related command in this first video is LSBLK. And this is going to list your block devices. So think of block devices like a hard drive, a solid state drive, anything of that nature. So we do LSBLK. It's going to spit back a list of devices. And if we look down here specifically, we've got SDA, which is our internal solid state disk. And then the SDA with numbers after it designate different partitions or slices of that disk that are used for different purposes. So the first partition is for EFI booting, and SDA5 is the root partition. The slash designates root. And we'll talk more about that in future videos, but what you should think about right now, and there's more to it, but what you should think about right now is that the root is vaguely equivalent to the C drive, the base of the C drive on a Windows system. Now, again, there's more to this, and this is an oversimplification to make things clear, but consider the slash as C:\/ on a Windows system. Everything is attached to root. And we'll talk about file systems and how things are laid out and file locations and all that in a future video. But for right now, this is just a very brief overview of a few commands to get you started working from the terminal, either on a desktop Linux system, or you may be using SSH to connect to a remote system and executing commands that way. And we'll again talk more about SSH in a future video. And that, my friends, will bring us to the end of this first in a new series of videos on Linux commands. If you got something out of this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe. And if you feel like supporting the channel, head down to the description and look for the link to buy me a coffee. There's no subscription necessary. You can make a one-off purchase. I will be adding additional tiers later on, but right now I am focused on raising money to buy some more equipment for the studio and help take these videos to the next level. So every little bit helps, and once again, I appreciate each and every one of you for supporting my channel up to this point, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.